ever meet poor people with a big ego? There's nothing as bad as being poor, but there's nothing worse than that as being poor and with a big ego. You are somebody who cannot be told. You're somebody who cannot learn. You are the kind of person who are stuck in your ways. You have an ego and a certain pride. I met somebody, or I lived close to somebody who had such a level of pride. They used to wear designer clothes, they used to wear designer shoes, they had the latest iPhones, but they were living in poverty. They were poor, but they had certain standards. Please don't have standards if you're still in poverty. First, get out of poverty, then you can have some standards. These individuals will go and buy new clothes, line up, buy new clothes. But you go to the supermarket with them, they are going with a calculator and starting to say, oh, we not buy this bread. Fine, it is organic, but it is 10% more. You are trying to save cents and you're spending hundreds out there. You are on the way to poverty because of ego, because for them it was what people are seeing. So I wear clothes that are expensive, shoes that are expensive, phones that are expensive, live in a nice neighborhood with nice things, but I am struggling to bring food on the table. And ego doesn't help you anywhere. This individual had children who are younger than mine, and I would say, I have some clothes that my kids are no longer using. I could give you because I could see they were struggling, but the ego will not allow them. Why would they have second-hand shoes? Why are you thinking that I need your things? But you could see the person is struggling. The person is struggling. But they have an ego. They do not want to learn. In fact, trying to bring the conversation about money was always a no-go zone. Because I would try, in other ways, try to bring some conversations. Oh, why are you struggling with this and that? No, things are not good. And then you can change jobs. Then they're like, now they always find excuses to explain away. Then I ask them, then why are you buying phones? You even have more expensive phone than I, and I am earning a lot more money than you. Why? Big ego. They want a big phone because when they go out there, people will see the big phone. People who are poor with an ego, it is hard to help them in their financial situations. They do not consider living in a balanced way, because remember, you may have all these shiny things, but if debtors are running and chasing you left, right and center, if you have to try and pinch every single shilling every time you go to the supermarket, and if a child asks for a piece of chocolate, you are saying not because of any health thing, but because you can't. There's nothing as bad to a man as when you go with a child to the supermarket and do not even allow them a simple chocolate bar, because poverty is driving you down the drain. But your ego will not allow you to be able to stop purchasing things that do not make sense. On these things that are involving finance, no one is perfect. No one knows everything. Even I, who is a graduate of finance, who is a registered accountant, who has worked in the field, who advises people on finances, I do not claim to be the author and the knower of it all. I don't know everything, and there are certain things I have to ask people about. I do not know everything. So if it's certain investments people I sit with and they tell me, and I am teachable enough to realize that I don't know everything. But if you're the kind of person who is unteachable because of your ego, then it becomes very problematic. You will be falling into pitfalls upon pitfalls because you think you know more than everyone and you do not know anything. In fact, the people who have the biggest ego have the poorest amount of knowledge about anything. They don't know. Have you ever worked in a place where the person who teaches things to people is the person who is seen as a knowledge manager, the knowledge leader? Why? Because every time you try to teach somebody, you learn a little bit more. And the people who are always teaching are always willing to learn. So learning is a continuous process. But if you're the kind of people who have an ego, you are poor and have an ego, don't want to learn, don't want to talk about it, you will not be able to grow any wealth. I've met several people who are like that. You are poor but you have an ego. My friends, Allow yourself to sit at the feet of certain people at certain times, because there are people who will actually mentor you on things you do not know much. There are people who know a lot more than you. But unless you are humble enough to sit at the feet of certain individuals, you will never acquire certain amounts of knowledge. That is why when you go to a doctor, you don't go and tell them what to do. They are the doctors. They learn. They have gone to school. They know all these things. And no matter how much Googling you have done, you cannot replace the knowledge that they have. It's the same thing with finances. If you are struggling in a certain situation, listen to somebody who is doing a little bit better, because they're going to help you know a little bit more. There are people whose ego does not allow them to understand that they do not have any financial safety. There's a big problem with acquiring a lot of assets that you can sit at, look at, and show others, but you are one check away from abject poverty. You are leaning or tethering to edge of poverty. That if you are paid €1, 1 shilling less, you die in poverty because you cannot be able to meet a certain obligation. You are struggling to be able to keep appearances, yet you are only paying the minimum balance for your credit card. A lot of people you ask them, why do you have a credit card? Why do you use a credit card? Pay in cash. Pay in cash because you need to spend at least as much as you earn, or even less, so that you can be able to invest. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear. And sometimes you might think it is only our people. This person I'm talking about is not even an African. So this is not an African problem. This is a global problem. That people are poor, they do not want to be told about how to get out of poverty. They do not even want to acknowledge. A lot of people are ostriches who hear a lion's roar and hide their heads in the sand. Yet all their buttocks, their juicy parts, are out for the lion to bite. Don't wait until things are tough. Adjust your expectations, adjust your ego, start learning, and grow your wealth. Don't be a poor person with a big ego. It is worse than just being poor. Hope you're learning, you're growing, and you become better in your financial affairs. Remember, my name is George Kingori, your online finance guy, who is here to help you grow and flourish in your finances. Thank you. Enjoy your day.